Shalom Lakaya, Barakah Basham, Amashiach YAHAWAH, giving all praise to the YAHAWAH Shemayim, Bashem, Amashiach YAHAWAH. As always, I want to say a lot of YAHAWAH, walk with YAHAWAH. And let's get straight into it. I want to go ahead and pretty much talk a little bit about how the Most High chose Israel, YAHAWAH, to be a special people to him, and some of the things it talks about concerning that in the book. So we'll go ahead and start off. Excuse me. We'll go ahead and start with Exodus. Chapter 4. Stop. Chapter 4, verse 22. Says, and thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith YAHAWAH, Israel is YAHAWAH, is my son, even my firstborn. So Most High calls us his firstborn. And if you really look at that, what happens with the firstborn, right? They get the inheritance. You see what I'm saying? And this is why the Most High chose us to be his firstborn, because there are things that we inherit, such as the law. We are the ones that the law is passed down to. So all of the things that would be inherited went to YAHAWAH, or Israel. So that's one reason you can just know that he calls us his firstborn. I'm going to go ahead and get Hosea next. Hosea 11:1. It says, Hosea 11:1. Hosea 11:1. When Israel was a child, then I loved him. YAHAWAH was a child, then I loved him, and called my son out of Egypt. So that's another instance where he's calling us. He calling us his son, his firstborn. So far, and these are important things, because like the inheritance. And I don't know what that scripture is. But the inheritance would automatically go to the firstborn son to carry on the nation, and there's scripture, like I said, I don't know exactly where it is, but the only way a daughter would get the inheritance is if the man had no sons at all. But the inheritance would usually go to the man. That's why you have when you get married, in the scriptures, that the father of the daughter would give certain things to her husband as an inheritance. But I'm gonna go ahead and go to Jeremiah. Interesting part in Jeremiah. 10 and 16. Now, this is an important part too, and this is why you have to study to show yourself approved, like it says, or people destroyed for lack of knowledge. Now, go to Jeremiah 10 and 16, right? It says, the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things. YAHAWAH is the rod of his inheritance. YAHAWAH of hosts is his name. So we are the rod of Yahweh's inheritance. And when you look this word rod up in the Blue Letter Bible for this specific verse, it says Shabbat, not Shabbat, not the set apart day, but Shabbat. And it is Strong's 87676. Shabbat is used for tribe 140 times. Right? So when you read this again in Jeremiah 10 and 16, it says, the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod or the tribes of his inheritance. You know, because we're the Most High's inheritance. And, you know, he is our inheritance because he had certain things down to us, like his word, you know. That's why it says we're his firstborn son, because the word, his word is his, and he, you know, you hand those things down as inheritances to your children. And the things that were precious to him, he handed down to us as inheritance. But you can read it as, and Israel is the rod, the tribe, or also the word it's used for tribe 140 times, rod 34 times, scepter 10 times, staff 2 times, and it also says branch, which I'm gonna bring something out about that also. But first I want to get this part about the tribe, right? Or branch. We are the branches of his salvation. You know what I'm saying? Or the tribes. But like when you look at it like this, okay, like the branches. Let's say branches for the time being. Branches, we are the branches of his salvation, right? Let's go here. You go to John. You go to John 15 and 5. Let's see what YAHAWAH says. It says, I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch that is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. So, YAHAWAH, which is our salvation, we get salvation through YAHAWAH. We know that. So, it's saying that we are the branches of his inheritance, you know, and we inherit the gift of, also we inherit the gift of grace of YAHAWAH giving his life, you know, so we can connect back to the Father, because we all came into sin, and you know we were cut off for a time without a way, and through YAHAWAH and him making that sacrifice, we are now, like he says, he is a vine, and we are the branches that are connected to him. And what? Let's go back to Jeremiah 10 and 16. It said, The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things. And YAHAWAH is the rod, the vine, that's like the branch of his inheritance. And YAHAWAH of hosts is his name. So we are the branch of the inheritance. And like it says that YAHAWAH is the vine, and we are the branches, and without him we can do nothing. It's like you can't, like if you take a tree, like if a tree is not connected, I mean, if the branches are not connected to the tree, they can bear no fruit because they don't have that source from where things can grow. You know, like if they're cut off, the branches die. And that's how it is with actual trees. If they get cut off, they die. You know what I mean? So, that's one word that comes from that Jeremiah 10:16. That's is Shabbat, which means tribe, rod, scepter, staff, or branch also. So we are the branches. We are the branches, and through YAHAWAH, which is the vine, we get that inheritance because we're connected back to the Most High. Therefore, he can give us that inheritance again. But it was another where I want to go with tribes, right? Like if you read it with the word tribes, which you use 140 times for that specific word that says rod in Jeremiah 10:16. Jeremiah 10:16 one more time. It says, the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things. And Israel, YAHAWAH, is the rod. We say it's the tribes of his inheritance. And YAHAWAH of hosts is his name. So if you use the word tribes, right? The tribes of his inheritance, these tribes of Israel, YAHAWAH, are the tribes out of the planet Earth that he gives his inheritance to, and that are his inheritance. Now we can go to keep that in mind, that the tribes are the inheritance. We can go to Isaiah, go back to the Old Testament, go back where we still in the Old Testament, you know, but just to get a precept about that definition. Isaiah 63. Isaiah 63 and 17. It says, O YAHAWAH, why hast thou made us to err from thy ways, and harden our heart from thy fear? Return for thy servant's sake the tribes of thine inheritance. You see that? So that same definition in Jeremiah, which that same word Shabbat, which means also means tribes, and song about the tribes being his inheritance, it's an exact verbatim scripture that says that exact thing, right? So with that, we can go ahead and move to Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 9. But you see how special we are to the Most High. We were cut off, you know, because of us going off so much. But YAHAWAH became that way. And like this too, everybody says, like, well, not everybody, but you hear some people, some Old Testament brothers be like, why do we need YAHAWAH, right? Why can't we just deal directly with the Most High like we used to? But understand this. We did not, like, I don't think there was a time at all where we didn't deal with the Most High without having a prophet. You see what I'm saying? Even in, like, when you read, they talking about the books, the first 5 books, the Torah, the Torah. You have Moses, Moshe. We didn't deal directly with it. Said with Moses, mouth to mouth, I speak to him. That's why Miriam got in the trouble that she got into and became leprous, or, you know, whatever the Most High had through on her, changing her skin, because she was going off because she was like, does the Most High not deal with us also, pretty much? And the Most High threw that on her because she was going against Moses. So, you see what I'm saying? Just like, that's why that YAHAWAH is that prophet like under Moses. Because, like this here. Let's grab this. Prophet like unto Moses, right? Like, they try to say it was Joshua. They don't try to say it was these other prophets before YAHAWAH came. But we're going to get Deuteronomy 34 and 10 real quick to show that wasn't speaking about Joshua. Some people be like, oh, they had to hearken to Joshua, which they did, you know, but it still tells you that it wasn't speaking about him like this. That's Deuteronomy 34 and 1. It said, and Moses went up from the plains of Moab unto the mount of Nebo to the top of Pisgah, that is over against Jericho, and Yahweh showed him all the land of Gilead unto Dan. Let's see, let's go to verse 9. It says, and Joshua, the son of Nun, was full of the spirit of wisdom, and Moses said, so like Moses laid his hands upon him, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as Yahweh commanded Moses, right? So he was doing, they listened to him like they listened to Moses. And it says in verse 10, and there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses. So it was telling you right there, even though Moses put his hands on him, and they had to hearken unto Joshua like they had to hearken unto Moses, it's telling you in the verse directly after that there rose not a prophet like Moses. So that was telling you that this is not the prophet that arose that was like Moses that we had to hearken to. It is YAHWAH, because we have to hearken to him. Even like it said, when we go back to John, it says in verse, let's go back to verse 5, John chapter 15, verse 5, it said, I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. So you have to hearken to him, because he's telling you clearly, without him, you can do nothing. So you would have to deal with him in order to bear fruit or even get to the Father. Because like you said, no man comes to the Father except through me. Just like no one can deal with the Most High except through Moses. You understand that? We always had a prophet, even Samuel. You know what I'm saying? How people, some people dealt with Daniel. Like he led. You know what I'm saying? Like Daniel led, Samuel led. You know, Jeremiah was a prophet that people listened to. You know what I'm saying? All these prophets that the Most High called, people had to go through them. So there's always been an intercessor for us to deal with. When the Most High was dealing with us, when he wasn't dealing with us, we was dealing with slavery and bondage and not even seeing his face, because he would have his face turned away from us. But like YAHWAH is that prophet, like under Moses. All right, so I was off a little bit, but you know I had to speak on that, and we're gonna get back and go went to Jeremiah and showed that the tribes were the inheritance when we went to Isaiah 63 and 17. We'll go back there real quick. We showed that word rod in with that word Shabbat in Jeremiah 10 and 16. We can go back there to Jeremiah 10 and 16. It says, the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and YAHAWAH is the rod of his inheritance. So it says YAHAWAH of hosts is his name. So Israel, YAHAWAH is the rod, the tribes, the vine, the branches of his inheritance, right? So the tribes of his inheritance. Isaiah 63. So Isaiah 63 and 17 says, O Yahweh, why hast thou made us to err from thy ways, and harden our heart from thy fear? Return for thy servant's sake the tribes of thine inheritance. So that just shows that word Shabbat is definitely talking about us being the tribes of his inheritance. So with that, like I want to go to Deuteronomy 32 and 9. Deuteronomy 32 and 9 says, for Yahweh's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. So the scriptures keep talking about us as Israel, YAHAWAH, being the Most High's inheritance. Okay, so I want to go to Exodus. The Most High, he sees us as a special people, and this is why the other nations, it speaks about in Psalms 83, came up against us because of the anger they felt that the Most High wasn't choosing them like he chose us, because he sees us as special. That's just like if you have more than one child, and you uplift a certain child, or you raise up a certain child, that's going to make that other child feel a certain way, Exodus 19. Exodus 19, we're going to read 5 through 6. Alright, Exodus chapter 19. Salaki, we're going to read verses 5 through 6. It says, now therefore I will obey, Salaki, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a particular treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of YAHAWAH. So it's telling us if we would keep all his commandments, we will be a particular people, a special people. And we fell off, and that's why, these other nations got to be up over us, and we became the tail and not the head, and work in that place of being that special people for that time. But the Most High never did away with us completely. He always made a way for us to come back. He said, Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. And he said, I will have mercy upon who I will have mercy, And he always had mercy on us. So I said his mercies are renewed every day. I'm going to go to 1 Kings 8 and 53. 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 53. And it reads, for thou didst separate them from among all the people of the earth, to be thine inheritance, as thou speakest by the hand of Moses thy servant, when thou broughtest our fathers out, so like out of Egypt, Yahawah power. So he separated us, and people will say there's no separation. Can we all get along? Can we all be one? That the Most High is for everybody, but it's clearly stated in the scriptures that he made us a particular people, a separate people, above all others, So we should feel good, that the Most High, loves us like he does, and understand how much of an honor that is, and respect that, instead of trying to always get the other nations to fit in with this inheritance and being the Most High's portion, because that's not how the Most High set it up. So I want to go to 1 Peter now, chapter 2, verse 9 through 10. It says, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a particular people, that ye should show forth the praise of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Said, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of the Most High, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. Now, like in times past, we didn't obtain mercy like that because, we were going through all these different captivities and slavery, but now we have mercy, through YAHAWAH. We have that grace period, that time to get right, and that is showing mercy, giving us time to get right. That's definitely showing mercy, right? So let's get Psalms 50 and 5. I'm going to go through a few scriptures showing, how the Most High feels about us and our position with the Most High. This is Salaka. Psalms chapter 50, verse 5 says, gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. So now we're going to find out who the saints is. We're going to go to Exodus chapter 24. Exodus chapter 24. We're going to get verses 3 through 8. It says, and Moses came and told the people all the words of YAHAWAH and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which YAHAWAH have said we will do. And Moses wrote all the words of YAHAWAH and rose up early in the morning and built an altar under the hill and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel, and sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto YAHAWAH. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in a basin, and half of the blood, and sprinkled it on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people. And they said, all that YAHAWAH have said, we will do and be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which YAHAWAH hath made with you concerning all these words. So he said, we go back here to Psalms 50 and 5. It says, gather my saints together to me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And that sacrifice they offered. You know, they offered offerings up. They offered sacrifice peace offerings, and he even sprinkled the blood on us. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's deep. That's like it said, behold the blood of the covenant, which Yahawah made with you concerning all these words. So that is definitely talking about the children of Israel. You know. And we know we know that Moses was over the children of Israel. Actually, we can go right here up to chapter 24, verse 1. It said, and he said unto Moses, come up unto Yahawah, thou and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off. See, so that's the top of the verse. It always tells you what the chapter is speaking about and what the chapter is concerning when you read from the top. So this is definitely the children of Israel, the ones that he made the covenant with by sacrifice. And Psalms 50:5 proves that these are his saints. And we know familiar scripture when you go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 68 that is prophesying about those same children going on those cargo slave ships. So we know that covenant that was made by sacrifice was made by the forefathers of the children that was sent throughout the Atlantic slave trade, and that the Most High spread through the four corners of the earth. So matter of fact, here, let's go here real quick. Yeah, let's see. Here you go. James 1:1. James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord YAHAWAH Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. So he's speaking about the 12 tribes of Israel that are scattered abroad. You know, when we get scattered further, you know, with those cargo slave ships. Let's see, we can go to Amos. Amos chapter 3, verse 7. It says, let's go to 1. It said, here's the word that Yahawah hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which he brought up out of the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known, therefore, you only have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. So, and here he's saying, we're the only ones that he knows, even though he's punishing us because we went off, he's letting it be known we are the only people of the entire planet Earth that he has ever dealt with. And we go down to 7, it says, surely Yahawah power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. So he revealed his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. And we know the prophets came out of Yasharahla, and it showed that those same people were those of the saints that made a covenant with him by sacrifice, you know. And Moses was one of those prophets, just like I was just speaking on. He will send a prophet like unto Moses, who we should hearken to. And it was not Joshua. All right. So, I want to go to 1 Corinthians 6 and 2. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 2 says, do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world. And if the world shall be judged by you, are, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters? So even there, it's showing you that we are allowed to judge. He's telling you the saints, the Israelites, the ones that came over on those cargo slave ships. You understand? The prophets are the Most High. We are going to judge the world. So he said, are you unworthy to judge the smallest matters, seeing that you will judge the world? And it tells you a righteous man judgeth all things. And check. Let's go to I think it's Romans. Go to Romans real quick. Let's see if this is what I want. No. That's not what I wanted. Let's see. Con, you know, we can go here. Yeah. All right. So we'll say, are we unworthy to judge the smallest matters? This is 1 Corinthians 6 and 2. And verse 3 say, know ye not that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life? So if we judging things that's dealing with another realm, how much more worthy are we to judge these things? You know what I'm saying? But it says a righteous man judges all things. And Deuteronomy 6 and 25, it should be our righteousness if we keep all these commandments. You know? And I really wanted to get something else, but I can't find it right now. So what I'm going to do is move to Romans 3, 1 and 2. It says, what advantage have the Jew, or what profit is there of circumcision? Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of the Most High. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? God forbid, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. So because we have the oracles of the Most High handed down to us, with part of that inheritance I was talking about, that we are justified in our sayings when we speak through the oracles of the Most High. When we use that inheritance the Most High gave us, instead of speaking carnal words and words from feeling and emotion, you know, we make sure that we stay and use the Most High word, the Most High's word, because nobody can go against the Most High's word. But they can go against your word. They can go against, like, if you lose control and you dealing in your emotions and you getting on a carnal level, you know, but when you dealing in the spirit, they can't fight against you because they'll be trying to fight against the Most High. So I want to go to Daniel, chapter 7. All right, Daniel chapter 7. I want to go to 18 first. Now 7 and 18 says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. God, so the saints of the Most High, we gonna take the kingdom, and that's what I was talking about when it said, the saints that we're going to judge the world. And when that time comes for us to judge, we're going to have that strength and that power through the power of the Most High to take our kingdom back. Daniel, let's go to 21. It says, I beheld into the same, so it said, I beheld until the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them until the ancients of days came and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possess the kingdom, because that's what's going to happen. The Most High is going to give us the power to judge this world. He's going to give us that authority to judge this world, like it says. And then we're going to take the kingdom. We're going to take the kingdom back, and we're going to be ruling forever, even forever and ever, like the scriptures say. So the Most High will give us that power. Even as it says again, Daniel 7:21, I beheld until the horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them so they prevailed for a time, until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was given to the saints. So the judgment is given unto us, right? So we're going to get that power of judgment to judge the world, as the scripture said. It said it was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. All right, so let's go to Revelations 2. Revelations chapter 2, verse 26 says, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of the potters of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received my Father. And I will give him the morning star, that he hath an ear, he that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. So we're going to get that power, and we're going to rule. We're going to be back in rulership according to the scriptures. He said he that endure to the end will get power over the nations. So it's very important to endure, like Hasatan, he go around like a roaring lion, like the scriptures say, seeking whom he may devour. And that's like the scriptures say, and like if it were possible, he would deceive the very elect. That's his whole job. That's the wicked one's whole job. The devil's whole job, which means deceiver, is to deceive, to deceive us, the nation of YAHAWAH, to get us to fall. Just like he tried, like he did with Job, you know what I'm saying? He did everything he could to try to make that man fall and break his faith. We're going to go to Revelations 3:21. So I can. Revelation 3:21 said, to him that overcometh, so those that endure to the end, will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am set down with my Father in his throne. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the church. So said he's going to give those that overcome a seat with him, right, in his throne. So when you have a throne, what does that mean? you have power, you have some type of rulership. When you have a throne, whether it be a lower level rulership or a higher level rulership. All right. So with that in mind, we're gonna go to second. What is it? Second Esdras, I believe. Second Esdras. Then we're going to go to 2, verse 2. No, chapter 2, sorry. Second Esdras, chapter 2. And we're going to start at verse 42. It said, I, Esdras, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people whom I could not number, and they all praised Yahawah with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest. And upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So he set these crowns. What he doing setting these crowns on these brothers, right? Like it tells you in Revelation 3:21, those that overcome will share his throne. So when you get throne, you get some type of authority. So he's giving them crowns to show and signify their authority. It says, verse 44, so I asked an angel and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing and put on the immortal clothing, and have confessed the name of the Most High. Now are they crowned and receive palms. See that? It says, Then said I unto the angel, What young person is this that crowneth them, and give them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of the Most High, whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of Yahawah, of Yahawah Shah, because we got to confess his name in the world. Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way and tell my people what manner of things and how great wonders of Salakia, of thy Lord, the Most High, thou hast seen. So, so all these things, the sons, the saints, the prophets of the Most High, of Yahshua that endure to the end. All these things are special things, you know what I mean? And this is things that the Most High preordained, like he told Jeremiah, I knew thee before you were in the womb. You know what I'm saying? So the Most High, he has these things preordained already. Let's see if we can get that. It's a lot. 1 second. Here. No, that's not. But the point is, all these things, like it's been about us showing how we special to the Most High, and He has preordained us, our dollars, just into enduring to the end. That we can get our crowns and our palms and get that seat to share with Yahawah Shai and inherit that kingdom back. As the scriptures say. And judge the world, and that's why we are going to be judges of the world, because we're going to judge alone with Yahawah Shai. You know what I mean? That's why we are sharing that seat, just as the angels share that seat up, share those seats up in heaven, you know. So I'm gonna try to find one more. Kind of here it is right here. Let me get this real quick. Like I was talking about, like it says in Jeremiah about how he doing for them before he was in the womb. So I'm gonna get this real quick. I'll go back to 2nd Ezra, chapter 2 and 41. It says, "The number of thy children whom thou longest for is fulfilled. Beseech the power of YAHAWAH that thy people which have been called from the beginning may be hallowed." And that's what's gonna happen. Like with them crowns, we gonna be hallowed. We gonna be set apart, because it said they put off the mortal clothing and put on the immortal clothing, because they're no longer fleshly, but they're spirits in the heavenly realm now, because you can't be in the heavenly realm with your YAHAWAH and be in flesh. You know, because it said it's those of terrestrial and those of celestial. You know what I mean? So we become that celestial, you know, when we join YAHAWAH. But Most High will, this was edifying in some way, form, fashion to somebody. That I want to say, halak out YAHAWAH, walk with YAHAWAH. Most High bless. So